All right, so I just want to talk about drill bits for a few minutes. If you look up drill bits anywhere, there's just so much to choose from. It can be really intimidating and difficult to know what you really need and what you don't. So I want to just share with you what I've learned. And if you're a new homeowner or something like that, maybe this will be helpful for you. So the most basic type of drill bit that you'll typically find is what's called a twist bit, and that's what the end of it looks like. These are common and useful, and probably the first drill bit you should ever own, drill bit set. So I have owned this back row of drill bits now for almost 20 years. And I do have a drill doctor. You can Google that if you don't know what it is. And I do take the time occasionally to sharpen them, but I'm also cautious with how I drill in terms of speed and lubricating oil and materials. The second thing that I would recommend buying is a set of brad points. Now, I learned the hard way that there are two types of brad points. There are woodworking brad points and there are contractor or carpentry brad points. So if you go to Home Depot, you can find brad points from like DeWalt that have a tip, like a pointy tip and something like that, but not as clean, not as sharp. They're not necessarily cheaper. They're just, I don't know. I guess they don't think that anyone at Home Depot is interested in woodworking, so that they don't sell them. Anyway, get yourself a simple set. There's a company called Fish. You can Google them. They're German. And you can get yourself an 1/8, 3/32, quarter, 5/16, 3/8, and then 7/16 and 1/2 inch or whatever. That's really all you need. What's really nice about them, if you're drilling into drywall or wood, is they cut an outside circumference on the hole, which makes it very clean. It doesn't tear out. Now, the downside is if you've drilled a hole at this size and you want to start stepping up, you can't really step up to a brad point because of the design, it doesn't have the chamfer that kind of follows the previous hole. So I would say buy a set from, what is this, 1/16 or 1/32 or whatever, all the way through, I think this is 7/16, 1/2 inch. Buy a set, from small to 1/32 to 1/2 inch. You can make yourself a simple tray like I did just by drilling holes in a board with the drill bit larger than the one you want to store. And then I just put mine on these little rails. Sorry, it's hard to do with one hand. And magnets, so I can take this with me wherever I want to go. And then I can slide this thing back on when I'm done. But it's a great starting point. Drill presses are great. They're expensive. They're big. A nice alternative is to get one of these drilling blocks. They call this a V drill guide. It's this also will go on pipes, and you can hold this by hand and then put a drill bit into it like this. But what I would suggest doing is clamping it. So use a clamp like that and clamp it down to the work. Obviously, you're not going to want to be doing this all day, every day, but this can fit in a toolbox. That cannot. And this costs about $20, and that's about $200 or $300. And what this will do is this will ensure that you drill straight. And that's very, very, very helpful. I would highly recommend that. For woodworkers, new woodworkers, I should say, you may wonder what comes next. You've probably seen bits like this, which really are not for woodworkers. These are meant for carpenters. They kind of look like Forstners or brad points because of these tips, but they drill very fast, not that clean holes, and they pull out the other side and leave a bunch of tear out. And they have this little screw at the top that helps suck the drill in. So this is more carpentry stuff. What I would suggest is get a set of Forstner bits. You can get, these are Porter cables, and these are also easy to sharpen. You basically just take a file and you file that face and that face. Obviously on the bigger ones, it's a little bit easier. You can get ones that are tipped in tungsten, which I inherited from someone when I bought some tools from them. But if you go at the right cutting speed and you're careful, then normal high-speed steel are totally fine. Another small thing that I would recommend along with this is one of these. You can get these at Ace Hardware on sale around Christmas for $9. And this is kind of for drilling, although it's general. Basically, you can pop these bits in and out of there. It's hard to do one hand, but it allows you to get into tight corners. And in order to use that for drilling, you would have to buy a set of drill bits that are equipped with, the hex shunts, like this, which would be an additional purchase, which would not be your first purchase, but eventually. And then you can also drill with this really into a tight angle. I do have a right angle drill. I also have a close one like this that gets right in there for a Bosch drill, and those are great. But again, that's a $200 setup. This is a $10 setup if you get it on sale. So, you know, before you have an expensive right angle drill and a drill press, think about buying those. Thinking about buying a single set of, you know, standard twist bits, and then don't buy these. If you need these, you probably know you need these, but homeowners don't generally need those. Buy yourself a simple 5 or 6 piece set or whatever of brad points. You'll be appreciative of them when you go into drywall or wood or plastic around the house. They're very useful. And although there's a few more things I could say about drills, the last thing I would say is if you are going to buy a drill press, I don't care what brand you buy. I've owned this for 9 years. It's a relatively cheap brand. What I would suggest is you buy one with this lever. That allows you to change the speed. Now this speed is just an indicated speed. It doesn't hold it at that speed, but in the olden days you had to change the belts. It was a pain in the butt. Very few people did it, and that's how you burn up drill bits or you get hurt. They now manufacture these with basically a small CVT transmission inside of there, and as you turn that, you change the diameter of some rollers. It's kind of like a yo-yo, and that belt has never worn out on me in 9 years. It works awesome. I think that thing costs $250, and that will increase your drilling more than anything else, because drilling at the right speed makes all the difference. So I hope that demystified drill bits a little bit, or drilling. There's a lot more to say and to learn, but that'll be it for today. Take care, guys.